LOL, Harry humiliates the royal family to raise money for charity. Interesting that he's not donating funds from the advance, but is waiting for sales of a book that hasn't been published yet. Money must be tight. Before getting to the official news, let's see what the hypocritical couple is up to. Harry and Meghan claiming that the Queen did not fully own allegations. They didn't say this directly. It came via a spokesperson, Omid Scobie, who is plugging an updated version of Finding Freedom, a book that Harry and Meghan didn't contribute to but actually did. It's entering flying monkey abuse by proxy territory, i.e. having a spokesperson do the talking for them instead of making official statements. Another attempt at squeezing out attention amid quickly waning coverage. They're stoking the dying embers of the fire that they started after their gambit to bring woke to cancel culture to bear on the senior royals via Oprah and failed to have the desired effect. It also highlights the hypocrisy, which is a consistent characteristic of the couple and their spokespeople. The statement suggests that the Queen did not take full ownership of the allegations made in the interview. What were the allegations? No one helped her when she was suicidal. A senior royal who isn't the Queen or Philip made a comment about amounting to the concern about Archie. Palace staff told her that their child wouldn't get a formal title, and security and Meghan inferred that this was because of allegations. Notice how no one wants to name names, no details, and no specifics. It's the type of scenario in which toxic he said, she said type bullies revel and operate in. And it's what makes Harry and Meghan such unworthy people, i.e. name no one, tar them all, and accept the Queen and Philip with the same brush and bet that actually is worthy of influential people and will abandon the British royal family now defined terribly. This now drumming up of demanding ownership being taken is more of this type of bullying. I hope that it's likely that the silence of the Queen and the palace will speak volumes. However, they won't and didn't own the allegations themselves. They haven't clearly stated who said what exactly and when. It's been 5 months since the broadcast and they had an audience of millions, and they gave nothing but deliberate insinuation and half-truths, calculated to do damage and undermine the royal family and the system that they operate within. That's the hypocrisy. The reply of recollections may vary was an apt response which required no follow-up given the stark lack of detail in the allegations. It was a gentle reminder to anyone who has the common sense and is engaged in some critical thinking that there are two sides to every story, and when someone makes serious allegations and doesn't bring receipts, then their credibility must come under scrutiny. In the months since, their credibility has been tarnished and they are quickly becoming a busted flush, with their only remaining evidence stemming from their links to the royal family, which was unaffected by their toxic behavior. The sad part is that they brought it all on themselves. Meanwhile, the main news today is that Harry's made a surprise appearance alongside his close friend Nacho Figueres by hosting a charity polo tournament in Colorado for his Centiball charity. Today's tournament was smaller in previous years due to COVID-19 restrictions, but Harry, who co-founded the charity, pledged to donate £1.1 million or $1.5 million to the proceeds of his upcoming memoir. This is hilarious. So he leaves the UK because they didn't want to do public events for charity, and here Harry is doing exactly that. However, if he and Meghan think that they will have the same draw here than in the States that the royal family has in the UK, oh, is he in for a rude awakening? And while we generally view the royal family positively, the whole situation is an interesting curiosity that is distinctly British. The vast majority would most likely respond, "Oh yeah, it's Harry, so what?" if he showed up at some event. Now Meghan would probably be booed. And more, Harry will donate $1.5 million of the proceeds of his memoir to Centiball. He's pledging other people's money from the sales of his book that he isn't writing himself, in which he's selling out his family. How generous of him. Literally nothing about the pledge comes from him. Why not use his inherited fortune if he really cares? Donating to a charity will not make amends for driving a 95-year-old woman to her grave by this continual badgering. I don't believe any of their tripe. Knowing how public-centered the royal family is, no one but very non-public old member of the family would reference this of an unborn baby. In all probability, knowing there's an on-point record of truths, it's a fabrication expecting to get a public reaction that never came. And again, they think their drivel is more important than the unfolding situation in Afghanistan. Surprised they haven't offered the Taliban their words of wisdom to guide them into the 21st century by honoring the rights of women, as I'm sure the Taliban are waiting for their tombs. A question. He has had a substantial advance on the book and is expecting it to be a huge bestseller. What if it isn't, though? Will he still donate $1.5 million, even if it doesn't make that much? He's not even writing the book himself. He is a ghostwriter. He and his wife are a joke. Every time they advertise that they're donating to a charity, it is always on the back of someone or something else. They are not actually giving away anything themselves personally. Once again, the Sussexes grandstand with their million-pound pledges, and yet we never hear a peep out of them when it comes to actually handing the money over. He has already received $20 million for his book deal, the book that will no doubt inflict more pain on his family and his 95-year-old grandmother, and yet he can't part with one penny of that, and has pledged money from the sales. Ever since he and Meg's got denied as special guests at Obama's big birthday bash, they've been trying their hardest to get themselves back into the headlines with irrelevant mumbo-jumbo. This adds a whole new layer to the deal itself. Just how much money is he looking for or personally hoping to make off the back of the book? I find it very distasteful that their PR team is desperately trying to wash his book deal clean by linking the proceeds to charity. Back to this news. The outdoor sports match was held to raise funds for the charity's work supporting vulnerable children in southern Africa who are impacted by extreme poverty, inequality, and the HIV/AIDS epidemic. His public appearance, the first since his daughter Lilibet Diana's birth on June 4th, was announced by the Sussexes' close friend and media partner Omid Scobie, who tweeted yesterday, "Prince Harry is back on the field." Harry doesn't want his dad's polo ponies, he wants it all. Mirth is the amour of anguish. Harry said this as his youth and the Oprah interview will haunt him for the rest of his life. His kids will also watch it just like he watched their mother's interview. He can give all the money in the world to whatever charity he wants, but what people will remember is how they felt when Harry told the world how his dad cut him off and how he had to make $1 million deal with Netflix in order to thrive, leaving his country hard hit by a pandemic in the dust. So he intends to do what he was doing in the UK. He starts with a charity polo match, and probably later he will organize and participate in the USA in public activities in support of various social organizations, charities, etc. So why did he have to give everything in the UK up? Family, friends, work on behalf of the Queen, for a supposedly private life for his family in Montecito. He and his wife are going to create the same activities as before while no one asks them to. The couple is incredibly opportunistic and hypocritical. Their egos are so huge that they will eventually explode. That is interesting. Unfortunately, there are no accountability and tax liabilities. They will write it off, and therefore Harriet will get the money back. Unless there's a check and balance, it's only his word. I feel people could not care what he does until he divorces Meghan. They see everything he does as BS because of his and her actions. They feel it is Meghan who is pushing him to write his story. This can drive sales up because people will be curious about what he's going to say and how far he will go. Will he talk about the controversy of his heritage, about his mother's death, etc.? I will not be buying it. His behavior towards his grandmother turned me off.